Welcome to Smada English Podcast.
I'm Nanda.
And I'm Bening.
Stay tuned for our first episode of the podcast. Today we'll be talking about mental health. It might be odd to talk about happiness in the middle of a global pandemic, but I think it's the best time to have our best mental health, don't you think?
Yeah, but Nanda, how have you been feeling with everything that's been going on?
I'm not too sure. I think I'm alright.
Do you have trouble with expressing emotion?
That might be the case.
Well, lots of people struggle with it too. There are several ways to express emotion, one of them being acknowledging what you are feeling and experiencing.
I've been feeling overwhelmed, but I think the pandemic has been affecting my friends' mental health as well. I think they experience lack of motivation and just general loneliness.
Do you think those emotions take certain forms?
Maybe heavy in weight, black in colour, or just rainy clouds in general, you know?
Well, what about happiness?
Happiness, I would describe it being a butterfly on the flower field.
On a sunny day?
On a sunny day.
Well, that's wholesome. What do you think people do to feel that way?
You know, they could spend more time with friends and family.
So, when do you think it's time to seek professional help?
Maybe when it feels like there are suppressed emotions, or you don't have anyone to talk to. But is there even a difference between talking to a friend and a therapist?
Definitely. Therapy is a safe, supportive, empathetic space to explore the aspects of self you may not be willing or able to explore within the context of friendships or other personal relationships.
Then what can friends do to help?
Just listening. Unfortunately, we typically seek first to be understood.
In what way?
Most people don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. They're either speaking or preparing to speak.
Oh, so what responses could that be an example of?
We tend to respond in one of four ways. Evaluate, either agree or disagree. Probe, ask questions based on our own frame of reference. Advise, counsel based on our own experience. Or we interpret to try to figure people out. Explain their motives, behavior based on our own motives and behavior.
So they're filtering everything through their own paradigms, reading their own autobiography into other people's lives?
Yes, we need to practice empathetic listening. Get inside their frame of reference, look through it, and see the world the way they see the world.
That's nice, but what if that person gaslights you?
Of course, that's the risk people take when opening up to someone. What's your personal experience with venting?
Well, thankfully, my experience has been very helpful. They validated my feelings, and I felt safe. And it helped me cope with stress as well.
Oh, well, how have they helped you?
They listen to my problems and make it a safe space to express my feelings, and without any judgment either.
Is that what you think makes a good listener?
Yeah, I'd like to be given that needed time and space, and it's nice if they show genuine curiosity about what I'm describing, you know?
Yeah, I get you. Do you think it's important to be expressing empathy?
Yeah, empathy is important so we can understand the situation correctly and respond appropriately. So, like what you said, empathy listening.
Oh yeah, once we listen with the intent to understand, there can be dramatic results in communication.
Is that so? So, what's your experience with him?
For me, I'm grateful for all the people in my life, but confiding in a therapist was what really helped me.
Why is that?
Sometimes there's this feeling of guilt, as if I had any control over whether or not I was mentally ill.
Oh, that's terrible. Is that still how you feel right now?
No, through experience, I've learned that mental illnesses are very human. If your leg was on fire, you would be focusing your attention and energy on your leg.
Oh, so you're saying it's the same with mental health?
Yeah, exactly. It's not that anyone is at all self-absorbed or inconsiderate. It's just the realization that something isn't going on right up there.
So when people realize that there is a problem, is there like any coping mechanisms we can do other than talking to someone?
Well, coping refers to the human behavioral process for dealing with demands, both external and internal, in situations that are perceived as threats.
So it's a sense of perseverance. I heard that the Islamic
Can you get into more detail about that?
You know, the endurance, restraints, and acceptance of the decree of Almighty when trials come into our direction.
Oh yeah, some people turn to God and use prayers as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, do you think that's a healthy way?
Well, it varies from each person's belief and their extent. A lot of people misunderstand, but Islam recognizes mental illnesses.
Well, I think it's super inspiring to have a supernatural being to turn to at any time, if you believe in religion, of course.
What do people who maybe don't quite have that belief do though?
So, there are two main ways of coping skills. One is emotion-based coping, and the other is problem-based coping.
Oh, so that's like asking yourself, do I need to change the situation or do I need a better way to cope with the situation?
Yeah, exactly. So, problem-based coping is helpful when you need to change your situation, perhaps by removing a stressful thing from your life. For example, you're in an unhealthy relationship, and your anxiety and sadness might be resolved by ending the relationship, as opposed to soothing your emotions.
Oh, so what about emotion-based?
Emotion-based coping is helpful when you need to take care of your feelings, when you either don't want to change your situation, or maybe the circumstances are out of your control. For example, you've just lost your loved one, and it'll be important to take care of your feelings in a healthy way, since you can't change the circumstances.
That's interesting. I'll keep that in mind when finding a way to cope. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have.
Well, I've had a wonderful talk with you, Kemuning. I hope it's beneficial for the listeners at home.
And if anyone is seeking any help, you can check out the hotline in the description box below.
Thank you for listening to Smada English Podcast.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.